This week on Backyard Builds, we go from cardboard to metal. So that's my third firewall template. Pretty happy with it. I changed this a little bit and I made this centered. Now I've got the steel. I've only marked it out in pencil because what I'm going to do is I've made a couple of notes. So add 25 on this lip, 15 on this lip. So that 25 will actually like roll back under, and the 15 will like sit under that little flange there. So yeah, I'm just going to mark that extra material out in pencil and then I'll chop it out. You can see I've made a pretty pattern out of some blue tape. That's nothing special, it's just blue painter's tape. I've also just got some 50mm tape because at the bottom I've allowed for a flange to turn down for the toe board to sit on. But I want to put a bead in this, so I needed a bit of an outline. Didn't really feel like trying to scribble it out and mark it out, so I thought painter's tape will work. That's 1-inch painter's tape, 25.4mm painter's tape. It's labelled as 24mm tape, 1 inch, whatever. I've done that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this tape on here, but I need all my curves because I'm going to put radiuses in all the corners. I don't like sharp edges. I'm going to use, I have this random bell mouth I got given from a friend, and it just has this really nice curve on it that I really like. So I'm going to use that for some of the bigger radiuses. See, I think that might be too big up there, but I have an old roll lock disc, a 50mm roll lock disc, which I think looks really nice in spots. And down here as well. So yeah, I'm just going to texture all these out, like so. What I used for over here was actually our round protractor. Just had a nice shape that I like there. So yes, that's what I am looking at right now. You can see the texture marks on there, down the bottom as well. So I'm going to set up our bead rollers. I'm going to do the same step that we did in the tunnel on this. I quite like that, it looks really nice. I wonder what that tighter one would look like in there. Might do the tighter one. And if you didn't know that trick that I just did there, scribble Sharpie over a bit of dried Sharpie and you can rub it out with your finger. You get a dirty finger, but so what? Yeah, I like how that looks. So the reason I've left it 25mm back from the edge is once I've done the bead roll and the step, I'm going to turn that edge in and actually like create a flange part of the firewall. I was going to make a hammer formed buck, but I think I want to show you guys how to do it by hand first because the hammer form makes it really easy and you can't cheat doing it that way. The tricky part will be this tight radius here. In here is not going to be fun either. It is tight to do. It's hard work, but that's how I'm going to do it. I'm also going to tip the edge at the very top of this. So that's why the tape sits 15mm off the top of it. So there's actually a 15mm lip at the top of the firewall. So it's going to come up and it'll flange like that and it'll sit under and then I can spot weld or something later on. So yes, enough talking for now. We need to bead roll this. So do the bead roller. Got our pattern done up, which you can see there, nice and pretty. What I actually want to do now is I left all this material big here in the center because I knew this was going to be pain. Didn't want to have to didn't want to bend it or damage it as I bead rolled it. So this lip, this inner texture line, like
That is our actual cutout. That's where we need to cut it. That's where we need to fold it. The one I've done below is where I need to cut it. So what I'm going to do now is just trim that out, and then we'll actually put in the tipping dies into the bead roller, and I'll show you how I turn that edge, and then we'll use the shrinker stretcher. We will use it in stretch, because a lot of this is going to be stretched to get it over. We'll also set up the power hammer with the linear stretch dies at the same time. We need to use a combo of all three, plus a lot of handwork to get it to flip over like we want. So let's stop looking at it and make it happen. Zach, you need to time-lapse this footage from somewhere there. The pattern is upside down, magnets on it, just so I could text a mark out. So if we quickly get all those off, now it just looks a bit funky. That's our top side, we know that. It's our bottom side. All I need is a mark to bead roll this with, because we're going to tip that edge and create a flange. This area here will get a little funky. I got some flanging pliers. I'll show you another trick as we go. Not too worried about this sort of little pop that it's got to it, just from the bead, because the bead was a bit heavy. No, we didn't do any pre-stretch. But as we turn that edge over, we're going to be able to push it and stretch that edge, get it to settle back down. Same with this top edge. It's a lot better because it's a straight run. As you can see, there's bugger all in it. It's going to turn the other way. Be able to flatten it back off there again. We've marked out both sides of our firewall. We know we want this flange to kick up. What I have set up over here in the bead roller is tipping die and the rubber lower. I've got that so it's actually got a little bit of pressure on it when it squeezes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it actually sort of, it's going to go from a flat sheet, it's going to sort of set and kind of kink the edge a little. That's going to then give us our line for us to turn it over, linear stretch, kick stretch, and get it all going. I know you're on camera, relax. Can't work with animals or children, they say. And I'm the child. So yes, let's just get straight into this, turning that edge. So we want to go this way because we want to turn it up a little. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit painful, but we will work that out as we go. The machine works a lot better if it's turned on. So as we go through, around, we really want that, like that. So if we go like that, so we can come back around. So it's going to be a little bit painful because how we want to do it, but I think we're going to start at this end. We've got movement.
So I am turning it up a little bit as I'm going. So you can see that edge has started to flip over. It's a little bit funny. This is going to be a painful area. It's going to need a lot of shrink, but it started to turn. So we're going to now just linear stretch. So the linear stretch dies are the pointy ones. It's like a straight up, looks like a triangle. I've got them set up kind of a bit backwards. Better turn this on. So I've actually got the linear stretch at the top. You can most definitely put it at the bottom. It's just the way I think I'm gonna have to do this, which was like that. I want to be able to like pull down on my sheet, and because that's a radius, I don't want to put the flat in there and put like dig marks in it. So I can do it like this. But now I'm looking at it, I might do a little bit of handwork first. So I actually might want to get that, kick stretched first, and then I'll do a little bit of flanging pliers, and then I might come over to this. We're now going to move to that linear stretch like I was talking about before. So hopefully I can just turn this camera a little bit for you. Now remember I said I had this set up back to front, so normally you'd have your linear stretch on the bottom, flat on the top. I've literally just gone the other way, purely because of my radius. So all I want to do is just try and stretch in this area. I'm putting the tiniest amount of downward pressure on it, just to get it to turn down. And I am restricted by the frame. It is what it is until it gets further around and I can actually sort of swing it further. But let's do it. So all I'm being cautious of as I'm doing it is my texture line. I don't want to go over that because it'll wreck that shape. So I'm just being really careful to stay sort of like behind all that area. So yeah, I'm going to sit here and linear stretch for a little bit. Put this on a time lapse and I'll see you soon. So what I'm going to do now we've done some linear stretch, we've done some bead rolling, done some kick stretch, is I'm going to use some flanging pliers. These are flanging pliers, just get them from Hare Forbes. Very handy tool, very easy to make a problem with. But so they've got a really nice straight sharp edge, which is fine. You just need to be wary of it as you use them. So when I set them up, or when I'm using them, I'm being conscious of where I'm grabbing it. So if you can see there, I've got it just behind the texture line. Just behind that bead roll, like that break edge we put in. And there's no rocket science to it. As you can see, what I'm doing is I'm pushing it down to the bench first because that area is really thin, and I'm just using my weight to kick the edge over because I don't want to push too hard and damage it. As you can see, it's just kicked that edge up, and it's sort of got like a nice sort of set line to it. So that's all we need to do. Is I'm just going to run around this whole edge and just tweak it a little bit more, because this is a process. This is going to take a little while to get this all to turn up, and we've got to, just to get it all to then settle back down, because we've got to stretch all that material out. So quickly run around this flange. So I might have to come back here in a minute. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all this up, and then we're going to mark that edge back out, that bead rolled edge, just so we know where we are, like that. If you don't have these lovely flanging pliers, you can use a pair of multi-grips, a pair of vice grips, duckbill vice grips, work the same way. I'll probably use a set of vice grips like on this really tight area here. But yes, plenty of ways to kick this flange over, but the majority of it is all going to be stretch work, and I've got to be careful I don't tear the flange. I want this flange to come vertically all the way up to 90. This small area is going to require a lot of stretch, so it's going to get real tricky. The trickiest part is going to be this reverse. So what I'm actually going to do is I think I'm just going to cut it out of the job, because you can't physically shrink that much material into that area. It's just not going to happen. I'd rather just put a slice in there, or cut a section out, turn it up, weld it back together and dolly it out. So that's basically as it is. I'm going to get busy turning this flange and get it up to 90, because daylight's fading and I want to get this set over so I can turn the top flange for you. So that's going to be repeated every time I start a film, isn't it? So, say this. Alright, welcome back. I've turned the lip. This is what we've got so far. When you sit it flat, this is actually overstretched now, so it technically needs a little bit of shrink just to get it to sit flat on the top. You can see how it's just got that little bit of space under there, and this side is still sitting up as well. It actually needs a bit more stretch. So I've just actually worked these a fair bit with hammer and dolly. This is a recent purchase. It's a snap-on hammer. It's actually got like linear stretch faces on it, so you just like can do it by hand. Very time-consuming process, but that needs a little shrink. That needs a little stretch. I'm gonna go do more of that. Forget what I just said. It wasn't shrink. I had to play with it, and it I use that corking technique that I've done before for you guys. I've just got my little stubby one, hammer obviously, in the corner. Couple of solid thwacks, and pull down. So this edge here still needs a little bit of work. So let's into that face. That's better. You see how that's got a twist in it? Put that flat. What I can see here, if you look down that line, see how this edge is still like laying over? What it means is this area here, right in here, like this specific area, this sort of like 2 inches, needs more shrink. Fiery's got the bloody party going. Actually, sorry, no more shrink, more stretch. So what I'm going to do in just this area here is kick it. Can you kick it? Yes, we can. So that actually puts us in a point where we're overstretched now. We haven't done any damage, but that's okay. We're going to take it, you can see just here, you might be able to see it down the line. A bit wobbly. Tap there, we're going to get our flanging pliers again. So there you have it. We've flanged that bottom edge. Remembering I cut that bit out because I was going to do this. Or test fit. I like that. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty chuffed with that. That looks pretty good. What we're going to do now is we're going to tip that top edge so it actually kicks back the opposite way. This is not going to be as difficult as the other one because the majority of it is straight. So we've already got it marked out on the top. So all we've got to be able to do is kick it in the bead roller. Probably just kick it in the bead roller and be able to hammer a lot of it over. Probably be able to use the flanging pliers quite a lot because it's all straight. So let's just go put a kick on that and then flange it. Exact same as last time, guys. Right down the center of the text line. A little bit of upwards pressure. A bit more oomph on that. We've got a long straight to go. Cool. See how that's just sort of kicked it up. How to use the flanging pliers. There is a bit of a trick to using flanging pliers. You don't want to just rip and flip it to 90 straight away. You really just need to get hold of it nice cleanly. And just slowly turn it. You don't want to overdo it. Now, I've got a little bit of a trick. Obviously, I don't have curved flanging pliers for that end, but I still need to turn the flange over. So, face dragging off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the shrinker. In this case, it actually does want to shrink, so I'm going to put the right dies in. Just quickly, bear with me. Put some elevator music here, Zach. Like da 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 da. You know, elevator music. Obviously. Shrinking dies in. Now I need to make sure I'm on our texture line. And same thing, it's going to be a double movement. It's going to be a little kick and a little push at the same time. Because as we turn that flange, we do want it to shrink. And we want to be nice, close to that texture line without going over it. We need to do that by hand now, just to tidy it up. So you can see it pushes up hard to what the lip is. Eventually it will actually sit under that. That's why the flange is there. Just pull that out of the way for a second. You can see up under here, the old firewall goes up and just lips back under here. So that's what I've tried to replicate. Firewall. Which sits like that. So later on that'll actually push back 15 mil and it should look really, really nice. What's that on the firewall, you might ask? Where's it gone? There. That is an embossing I want to put on. So, like I said before, the car is affectionately named Delia. I hope I'm saying that right. So what I've gone and made, with the help of a friend, is a male and a female die. So this is my, what is this? That's my female. And this one here with the klecos in it is my male. So you can see the holes pass all the way through. I've got a weld, I have that set up like that. Put a bit of copper on the back. And plug weld through those holes, not those outside two, because they're actually guide holes to help it line up with this one. And then I'll put some little tacks in there just to fill those up. Sand that off nice and flat. And then hopefully, when I drop it in the press, which is a bit hard to see because it won't go with the klecos, we'll get a little stamping. So yeah, I'm going to grab the MIG welder and just hopefully plug the back of these up without blowing any holes, because that little bit is like as fine as a human hair. That's like 2 hairs, 3, 4 hairs. It's a weapon. Alright, so plug welded from both sides. I can do this one-handed. You get the idea. I'll just quickly knock the heads off these, flip it over to the back side as well, and then we'll do a test. Put a little blob in there, sanded it off. Happy with that. So we got our male and female die. Let's just get a bit of scrap. Should fit on that. Let's just do it that way for entertainment's sake. Let's just leave those. And I'll quickly clamp that and just drill our 2 guide holes. I think I'm just going to use the klecos as my sort of pins, because they seem to locate fairly nicely. So yeah, I know it's a 4mm hole, so I'm ready to go. So up.
It's got it, that's all we need. All right, let's go to the press. I just thought before I do this, I don't know what I'll put that back on there. Put a bit of looby dooby on there. So I'm just going to use a bit of silicone spray because I don't have any WD at the moment. The silicone spray is still slippery. So the principle's the same really. All we need is a little bit less friction. We all know that. Back click on the ground for a sec. Okay. Let's just do it that way. Should work. I'm not mad at that. That should work. Some spaces. Yep, that's what we want. It's pretty close to center. The center's about there-ish. So this is just a 20-ton upright. That goes clear. Pump it up. That was either it cutting it or stamping, I suppose. I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. Let's just do the other end as well. Oop. Okay, what's that stuff? Put that on the ground then. That goes in that. Might just cut that click if we're lucky. Get out of it. It's worked. I think it's worked. Get off the table. Okay, this did shear. It's actually tried to guillotine it. Ooh, there it goes. Yeah, so you can see it's actually tried to cut through. So we might have put too much pressure on it actually, the way it's cut. Or you need to lube up the die a bit. Surprised how much that split. I don't know if you can quite see it on camera. You can just see it's tore through here. Bless me. It's torn, yeah. Just some of the pieces. That's alright. That's why we do a sample and not on the main piece. I'm surprised how much that shears. We need to maybe just soften like the edges so they're not as sharp on, because that's going down. We need to do it on this piece. So we need to, on the female die, we need to just soften all these edges off a bit. That's alright. That's exactly why we do tests. Make sure we know this stuff. So, a bit hard to see, but I went through and just quickly, like, not even lapped it, just touched it. Barely got it. Just to just to take any edge off it. Feels alright. It doesn't feel sharp. But I think it didn't feel sharp to start with either. So that's ready. I just drilled my holes in this piece. Before I get it in the press. Oil up both sides of that this time. See if that just helps a bit of slippage. Because I don't really feel like that tearing up the firewall. There's the other hole gone. There it is. And I'm going to do the same thing. This side of the die. A little bit of lube never hurt. Let's make sure we put the die right. Yep. Alright, let's try that again. Sure. I think that one's better. I don't think that one's split. I can't see anything yet, but well, the bottom's come off. It's a good start. Top come off. Yeah, that's what we want. Look at that. Crisp. No tears. Just like I bought one. I've just given it a wipe down. I just noticed, just beside the eye there, which is the only spot, just there, I noticed it was a little unsupported. You can just see the bottom, very tip of that just got deformed a little, and that's just from those V blocks I've got. It just, when it sits there, it just leaves that slightly uncovered. So I might need to work out if I can just move the die afterwards on the top and squish that just to get that crisp. I'm not worried about this rippling. I can squash that out at the very end. I think if I put pressure in those areas, and that was also outside the die, so it's not really a problem, but that seems to work. Just knocking that edge off has made a sweet stamping die. There it is. That is the firewall. Finished up. Sorry, I just gave it a Scotch-Brite before I started, because obviously getting in there is going to be really tricky at the end. It feels nice and flat. It stiffens it right up. Like there's a little bit of wobble, but I could probably just, it's fine because it gets touched in there. But Delia, Mazda 800.